Hi, hello everybody. So, as you know, the Act 2 for Destiny Rising is going to be coming out very soon. In less than 4 days, in fact, and by the time that this video uploads, it's going to be the Monday of that week when Act 2 will be releasing. It'll be releasing on Thursday alongside Helhest, who will be the new mythic unit and bringing with her a host of different changes to the season. Most notably, the biggest changes are going to be towards the shields and shinkas that we're going to be facing off against in the endgame. As we can see here, alongside Helhest's release, the shields are also going to be shifting over to Arc, and we're likely going to be facing off against piercing shinkas instead of impact shinkas. So with that in mind, I'm here to give you the best advice on how to prepare for the upcoming season and the best things that you're going to do. Now, one thing that may seem a little bit unorthodox since we're already in this menu is you might want to start saving up your Season of Daybreak engrams, because there's going to be a host of new cosmetics related to the Battle Pass weapon that will be releasing alongside with the Act 2. So if you want to have the best chances at filling out your collection, stocking up on those seasonal engrams might be something to look at doing. However, beyond cosmetics, best things that you're going to have to prepare for are for the upcoming metas. And one thing that you're going to definitely want to do is, if you're planning on pulling for Helhest and building her, you are going to want to stock up on her materials. What that means is that you're going to want to have enough fruits in order to max out her weapon mastery and also level up her artifact gilding. You're going to want to stock up on piercing luminites and piercing mythic cores. Additionally, you're also probably going to want to stock up on some exotic mods for the piercing weapon. Now, a lot of you probably already have a decent amount of those in your inventory already, likely due to the fact that you've probably been spending your challenge keys primarily on the rapid fire and piercing loot pool in the master and grandmaster strikes. So with that in mind, I don't doubt that a good amount of you probably have them, but if you're looking at spending them soon, maybe hold off until we see all of the new options that we have available. And of course, there are plenty of other materials like having enough sheaths and enough topological acidine, so on and so forth, and also having a decent sum of artifactual essences to make sure that you can refactor her artifacts when needed will also probably be useful. Of course, we don't know enough about her kit or her damage types in order to make determinations on what artifacts would be good for her yet, but we can make some assumptions, though I wouldn't really spend your energy to prep for those regardless. Though another thing that you can do to prep for it, and this is going to be a very good suggestion regardless of if you're planning on pulling for Helhest or not, is to farm mythic weapon parameters. Now, as you can see, I have about 3,600 in my inventory right now, and I'm planning on getting a lot more, and that is so when the next update releases, you can focus a bunch of mythic weapon selector engrams to get any of the new mythic weapons that release with Act 2. I'm not entirely certain on how many we'll be getting. I know for a fact that we'll likely be getting at least one, because Helhest would need a new mythic bow. I doubt that they would be so stingy with the weapon drops to make it so that we only get one new mythic weapon. I'm assuming there's going to be others as well, so if you're interested in other characters beyond just Helhest, farming up your mythic weapon parameters will be a really good thing to do. And if there are going to be two methods that I'm going to suggest, obviously playing through the casual playlist will give you a pretty decent amount of mythic weapon parameters for the time investment for these activities. These play through pretty quickly. However, another thing that you can do is that you can get a full fire team of 6 together, go into the Gauntlet Blitz, and farm Hack. Now, the reason why you want to farm Hack specifically in the Gauntlet Blitz pool is because it is the fastest activity among them to complete. You can get it optimized very quickly, and you can be completing that activity in a minute or less. And this will be the best way for you to farm mythics, and you'll also have chances at getting exotics from the loot pool as well. And the main method on how you want to guarantee getting Hack is you're going to want to start matchmaking, and you'll see up there it says power cut. Now, you would also be able to see if it's Hack, but essentially you would just decline if it's anything except for hack, and accept if it actually is hacked. Now, you would want to do this for a fire team of 6. I would not recommend doing this in matchmaking. It will not be nearly as fast, and additionally, you'll likely be disrupting the other players' experiences. I kind of had to do a little bit of disruption right there to demonstrate for the video. I'm sure they will forgive. Obviously, beyond that, another thing that you may want to consider doing is saving up some pinnacle energy for the next seasonal release, because we don't know what activity changes could happen. Maybe if they add new artifacts or new weapons that you have to get from the loot pool first, and you can't focus yet until you obtain them. And obviously, just to have a larger sum of pinnacle energy to then pursue any of the potential rewards that you need to stock up in case if you're like really short on something. So if you're not using your pinnacle energy for a specific purpose to stock up on resources for a specific character, it might be a good idea to not spend your pinnacle energy on Wednesday or even Tuesday as well, so you can log in on Thursday with 240 or 360 pinnacle energy stocked up. Kind of recap, essentially the main principle that you're going to want to go forward with in Destiny Rising is if you don't need something right now, then it's probably better to save it than it is to spend it. So for instance, I haven't had a need to spend my piercing mods because I haven't really had a need to max out any of the piercing weapons that I have available on my different characters. So I have them stocked up in my inventory right now, and the same thing goes for my Mythic Infusion chest and my Luminite chest, elemental fruits, so on and so forth. Simply just doesn't make sense to go ahead and blow them all necessarily on a unit that I may not be using for the time being, or even in the near future, than it would be to save them until I actually do need it. You can always spend resources on a character to level them up, but you can't take resources out of a leveled up character in this game. So in that sense, it's better to have it and not necessarily need it than it is to need it and not have it. Also, going forward, you will want to make sure that your inventory is properly managed. The best thing to do would be to dismantle everything mythic and lower when it comes to your weapons. Not only will that give you more mythic parameters, but it'll also make sure that your inventory is nice and clean for all of the weapons that you're going to be obtaining in the near future. And that also goes for your artifact inventory as well. If you're somebody like me who oftentimes spends a lot of time grinding artifacts, you're probably going to have a lot of these sitting in your inventory, oftentimes collecting dust. What you can do is you can obviously go in and manually select everything, but something that would be good for you to do is to select mythic and lower, and to include specifically the artifacts that you have been grinding. So for instance, Valiant Veil on my Ning Fei, and Explosive Shell for my Wolf, and same thing with the Inverted Fury for my Wolf and Rampaging Pact of Ning Fei. Because those are two sets for specific characters, what I can do is I can select attributes that I know for a fact that I would never use on a mythic for either of those. For instance, that would be vulnerability boost and the damage bonus boost, since neither of these characters can make use of their tiered effects and would have much better use of other ones. And since they are mythics, I would only want perfect rolls on them regardless. So what I can do is I can confirm, and you can see it'll automatically select 69 of them and give me a whole bunch of that artifact XP and clean up my inventory. So that's saved me a whole bunch of space right there, since you would only ever consider using mythics for your offensive artifacts. If you have any defensive artifacts sitting around in your inventory, let's say Unrelenting Subgravity, Nourishing Pact, Unrelenting Evolution, and Healing Veil, since I would never use any of these beyond using an exotic version of them for the power, since the defensive artifacts aren't as important attribute-wise as the offensive ones, I can go ahead and dismantle all of them right there. I probably won't want to dismantle the exotic ones, just the mythic and lowers. Thank you very much. Those will all go away, freeing up even more space in my inventory. So as you can see, I went from close to maximum on my artifacts inventory to having a significant amount of space, and keeping my inventory clear for the next update so that when I'm seeking out new artifacts, less necessarily necessarily for like a new character, that will definitely help me and make it so that I don't have to worry about it later when I definitely want to be grinding a lot more than I necessarily want to right now, because most of the characters that I'm using right now are already built. But I do believe that covers just about everything to do with preparing for Act 2 in Destiny Rising. Don't really think that there's much else. I mean, obviously, you're going to want to stock up on Glimmer, but you're usually going to get enough Glimmer between all of your different activities in order to just have more than enough. But obviously, if you really need to grind Glimmer, Morgan Spray is going to be pretty good with those basic rewards. So yeah, if you need Glimmer, you can also grind Morgan Spray to try and get some stocked up as well, because a lot of these character upgrades are going to be very expensive Glimmer wise. I mean, as we can see right here, this is many thousands of Glimmer to upgrade, and it's going to be like that for so many of these different things, especially when it comes to stuff like the max out weapon masteries. If you're running a bit low on Glimmer, that would definitely be something to look to do as well. But that would be the last thing that really comes to mind when it comes to preparing for Act 2. If you're enjoying my coverage of Destiny Rising and would like to see more of it in the future, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a video. I'll also be covering Duet Night Abyss and Ananta as we get more news for both of those games, so if you're interested in either of them as well, also make sure and subscribe. I know it's not really part of the topic of the video, but it does bear mentioning, because especially due to the fact that Duet Night Abyss is very close to its release. If you feel like that there are more things that I necessarily missed when it came to the best things to prepare for Act 2, make sure and leave them in the comments below, or if there was something that you didn't think of when it came to preparing for Act 2 that I was able to provide you the information for, also leave a comment down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I will see you all next time.